I am a man of honor, integrity, and promise. I pursue all righteousness. I love my family. I will not put my family in harm's way. There is nothing that will keep me from doing the right thing. I am an ambassador of hope and a man of discipline. I am a man worth following. I am a TYRO.
Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Cathy.
And I'm Cathy Tiarina. And if you don't know who we are, Ron and I did 15 years in the prison system. Ron doing time on the inside, while my sons and I did time on the outside.
And we were able to take this experience of incarceration, poverty, and everything that goes with that and develop an award-winning curriculum called TYRO. The word TYRO means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior. And just today, I heard somebody mention what that word meant to them. It meant somebody willing to fight for their family.
And so that's actually what we've been talking about over the course of these last few shows, and that is building a relationship, a strong relationship from inside the walls that transitions and bridges to outside to your partner. And so we've talked about how the culture of incarceration actually can create all kinds of obstacles and how to overcome those. We've also talked about rebuilding trust and how foundational trust is to building a strong family.
And we also talked about phone calls and how to leverage the phone calls to maintain a healthy and build a new standard or a new legacy for your families. And phone calls, as difficult as it can be to maintain a relationship, it's the means by how you can get to that end. Another thing we talked about is letters and how important it is to write letters to your loved ones, to your children, to your significant other, and really encourage them to achieve their dreams and to rekindle relationships and to begin to reinvent yourselves and to redefine your relationship with one another.
So today is the last segment of this series, and this is really focused on visits, which is probably one of the most important things, the most important avenues or tools or opportunities that you have to build a legacy of strong families during this season. And so as we talk about visits today, we're going to talk to you about what makes a terrible visit, what makes a good visit, and how to really leverage visits in order to build your family strong in order to last generations.
So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You will begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine Tiarina's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron.
And I'm Cathy. And today we're talking about leveraging visits in order to really build your relationship strong. And it's the final segment of our series on building healthy and strong relationships from inside the institution.
How do you leverage a prison visit? How do you even look at a prison visit?
That sounds like a misnomer, doesn't it?
Oh my goodness. How do you even leverage it to where you can anticipate great outcomes, a great experience, a great place to really connect and be a family?
And it just seems like that doesn't even make sense. Like a prison visiting room and make it a great experience and make it a connecting experience when there's so much grief and pain and chaos. But I'm telling you, it can be done. And it has to be done. It's not just that it needs to be done, it has to be done, and it can be done.
And you have to be intentional about it. You have to go in a prison visiting room with not your own agenda. You have to go in there with a greater agenda and understand that as you're meeting with your family and stuff, what can you bring to them? Because they're coming to you, and chances are they're coming to you for hope, for answers, for ideas, and And
for
encouragement.
love, for encouragement, for connection. Because as they are doing their time on the outside, your loved ones, especially your partner, your spouse, or the mother of your children, I mean, she is out there and she is bravely standing in the front lines in a society that hates her for standing by you. And so she's coming to be reminded why it is that she's staying with you.
And that's key to success, guys.
Yeah.
If you can really start to look past yourself and come to a place of really becoming CEO, because your wife is, you got something?
I'm just remembering, on our first few visits, it was like it was the fashion show for Ron.
Hey.
Hey. So it was like all this energy went into making sure that his hair was cut and his shirts were pressed and his pants were pressed.
Let's tell the story, though.
Yeah.
I went from 180 pounds of McDonald-looking guy, you know, I was still that mentality and everything, and not working out, not doing anything, from really embracing physical fitness in prison and, you know, doing 2-a-days. And so I went from 180 to 130 pounds, and at that time I went from free weights to machines. So again, back to that selfish mentality, I worked out hard. I wanted to impress you with my new physique.
Which was okay, except for that was the only thing that he thought about as far as the visit. So he came into the visit with one single item on his own agenda, and that was, show Cathy how great I look. And, you know, once you get past the first 5 minutes, you know, we still have several hours together that now we're just winging it.
And the biceps can only last, you know, 30 seconds. You know? So and there's other aspects of my own growth in prison that I would be focused on something inside a prison, and that's all I was good for. Whatever was on my agenda that I was experiencing inside prison, I wanted Cathy to experience it, but it was all about me.
Right.
You know?
Instead of us. You know, it's really important that each one in this relationship is strong. And if you've been through the TYRO dads and you've been through couple communication, you've heard this before, that it takes a strong man, a strong woman, and a strong us in order to have a healthy relationship. So if all I ever do is focus on me, or all Ron ever does is focus on him, then the other two parts of that equation are getting weak and not being cared for. And so when we talked before about really filling those banks and making deposits in those, it's really, really, really important during your visits that you're making deposits in the us of the relationship.
You know, and that's a great segue into this, Cathy. You know, we're talking about how do you pour into your loved ones? How do you give back to your loved ones? They're already sacrificing time, energy, and money and everything else that goes with them, stopping their world to come and see you. And the visit might only be 3 hours, but they prepared. I mean, I remember talking to Cathy. She began preparing for the next visit right after the last visit. She would begin preparing her life so that it could run in a way that she would be there on time to see me on the next appointed time.
So it was like whatever the work schedule was, whatever the school schedule was, whatever it was that needed to be adjusted, as we left the one visit, we were thinking forward, okay, now let's see, what day can I come? What day do the boys not have ball games? What's not conflicting? And then blocking that day off and saying, okay, so before we go, the night before, we have to make sure that the boys are showered. We have to make sure that the clothes are washed. We have to make sure that we're up at such and such time and that we've got money for the vending machines. And so it's a big ordeal. It's like an event, it's like planning for Cedar Point or going to the zoo. It was a big deal. And the last thing that we wanted was when we showed up there for it to be a huge disappointment if I got there and Ron came out and he's showboating.
Well, I have an attitude
Right.
or you're a few minutes late and I'm taking it personal instead of not taking it personal. And so I had to come into a place of where, you know what, as long as you arrived there safely, you know, that was a good day. As long as you arrived there, period. As long as you were still...
As long as you arrived there safely, that was a good day.
You know, that's it. As long as... And I had to really be conscious of appreciating the moment in time versus, you know, having my own expectations not being met because, you know what, my expectations a lot of times were not even reality. You know, asking you to really go way out of your way to satisfy what I was desiring.
So make sure you're there. You're the first one in line so that you make sure you can get in here so you can make sure that you can get me those wings or get me that big-ass sandwich, whatever it is, that was in the vending machine.
Yep. I remember it.
And you know, as a matter of fact, can you save up extra money because I want 2 of those? And so every additional demand put on me.
That's what a lame looks like. If you're wondering what a lame looks like, let me tell you.
But it's okay. It's okay to make requests if the request doesn't define the entire visit. I mean, does that make sense? If that request defines the whole visit, like the whole purpose of me coming to see him, if it's all about making sure he gets those wings and that hamburger and whatever else it is he wants out of that vending machine, then it's not building us up. It's actually creating a deeper wedge between us in our relationship. But if the whole visit is about, wow, and if you get there, if you have an opportunity to get the wings that we can share together, that's great. But if the success of the visit doesn't rise and fall on what I get out of that vending machine, then we know that we're in the right spot.
As we talk about the inside experience and we talk about how I had to prepare myself for the visit, mentally, can I go out to a visit and allow myself to be vulnerable, transparent right away? Because a lot of times, guys, when we get out to the visit, it takes a minute for us to become vulnerable or transparent in the relationship, because I still have my mask on, the mask that I'm wearing inside prison, that I'm not hurting, that I'm okay, that I'm not dysfunctional, that everybody else around me, they have the problems, not me. And then I take that attitude out into a visit, and then I actually, how do you say, expel it, and I expect the rest of the family to act like, we're healthy, we're okay.
So basically sets a tone or a standard, or says this is the norm by which our family operates. And so, what that does is it just creates more distance. So as we come back, we're going to take a short break for a short message, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how do you overcome all of those. How do you actually use that time to really connect instead of come in with an agenda, and that if that agenda is not met, that the visit turns into a disaster. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron.
And I'm Kathy.
And today we're talking about prison visits, how to maintain a healthy and grow a healthy family despite the prison environment.
And so, unfortunately, oftentimes we think, or what we even used to think sometimes, was, well, then the visit had to be perfect. It had to be this, moment.
And the word is, it had to be perfect. And with that mindset, it was up for disaster.
Right. And so what we learned was it does not have to be perfect. What makes a perfect visit is that it's authentic, it's real, sharing laughter and joy and pain.
And tears.
And tears and triumph. Just sharing life together and being authentic is what is really going to build your relationship strong and healthy.
So let me add this, Kathy, because dads and men, let me ask you this. How often do you cry in a visit? Because we're talking about being authentic. Your family is crying every day. Your children are crying every day, but when they come to visit you, do we let them cry? Do we let them even express their hurt and pain? Or do we continue to push that facade even on them?
Keep the mask in place, keep the mask in place.
Don't let nobody see you hurting. And do we allow that type of freedom in them where they can cry and be real, talk about their hurt and pains, so that we too, dad and brother and son, that we too can cry with them?
Now remember, life is made up of moments. Moments make your entire life. It's not usually some big event and some huge thing. It's all the little moments along the way. And so visits have to be used to create those moments in your romantic relationship. We're talking about building healthy relationship between you and your spouse, or you and your partner or mother of your children.
And that's keeping it real.
Yeah, and you've got to keep it real. You have to be authentic, because in life there's a measure of a joy and measure of pain in everybody's life. And if you don't allow yourselves to experience that, you're not going to bond in the way that is really going to carry you through this experience and carry you safely beyond these walls and into a lifetime together.
You know, in the TYRO Declaration and what we teach in the TYRO program is that pain and suffering are our greatest teachers. And if you really come to a place of your journey of incarceration and embrace this experience and to allow you to learn the lessons you're supposed to get, even in the prison visiting room, you know, when the gray shirt says 15 minutes, you know, that you begin to wind down. You embrace that experience. You don't take it personal that your visit's about ready to come to an end, but you're able to take it for really for what it is. It's a moment in your life where you're going to come to a place to understand what it means to say goodbye in a healthy way, not demanding anything before you leave.
And understanding that if every single visit, everybody is smiling and you're eating your meal together and you're having small talk and then you go on about your ways, that you have begun to numb yourselves to this experience. You're numbing yourselves to this journey in life, because real life isn't just simple and clean and neat and sterile. Real life, when you're engaging in relationship, it's painful, it's difficult, you have to work at it, and you're sharing those deep, hard things that are sometimes painful.
And by not sharing it or not allowing your family to express themselves in a way that is healthy, right? You're stagnating your evolution. You're putting in a place of dormant where you can't grow. You will experience this prison visiting room in another number. Because if you don't get the lessons you're supposed to get while you're in the prison visiting room, guess what happens, guys? Just like getting held back in school, you're gonna have to repeat this grade again, because even as you're doing your time, and your time is not doing you, every day you're supposed to be learning to become better despite the experience you're having. It's in the experience that's gonna make you a better man for all those who come around you.
And if you just think about creating that atmosphere that allows you and your significant other to be authentic and be real. And that is everything from the way that you greet each other to what you do as you sit down and begin your visit and spend your time today, to eating your meal together or a snack together, to your goodbye. Everything, every moment counts. So as we think about how that could happen, we really want to think about and talk about why it's important and how that's going to affect your children in a very positive way.
So stay tuned. When we come back, that's what we're going to talk about. How this affects your children, how your experience, and they're watching closely in this prison visiting room, how does it affect them to grow up to become healthy?
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron.
And I'm Kathy. And today we're talking about what it means to have a good visit. And that means a visit that helps to build strong, healthy relationships that last a lifetime. And this is part of our series on building healthy relationships in spite of incarceration.
You know, being a TYRO, being a man worth following is not easy, because you have to take these principles and you have to practice them. The best place to practice what you're learning as far as being a father, being a husband, being a man worth following, and this is your opportunity, not only in the day room, in the yard, but in the visit. Can you take these principles and allow people to see the change that is taking place in you? That means, can you really let them see yourself be vulnerable, where you are crying with your family, where we know one thing to laugh with our family, but can we really cry with them? Have you had a moment in the visiting room where you've been able to embrace your wife, and when you tell her you're sorry for disappointing her, and let the tears come out? Despite all the other guys around you, you're about ready to become authentic. You're about ready to have a breakthrough. You're about ready to show your wife that, you know what, I am hurting, and I hurt for you, and I'm hurting with you. Oh, man.
Yeah. And it's vital. It's vital if you want to have a strong, lasting relationship. And it's also equally, if not more so vital, if you connect as a couple and you are growing and thriving and being authentic and experiencing those joys and those pains together and being real about it, then it gives your children freedom to really feel and experience life themselves. They don't feel like they have to be perfect, that they have to pretend like everything's okay, that they have to build walls and that they have to protect themselves.
Well, they don't even have to, one thing that we hear about a lot of the children, because they're not seeing their parents become authentic, that they're angry and they become bitter, and guess what? So they don't know how to express this feeling that they're having or anxieties that they're experiencing. Guess what? They're gonna take it out on somebody at the playground, somebody in school, and they're gonna express it in an unhealthy way because mom and dad aren't showing them how to relieve it in a healthy manner.
And as they watch mom and dad, so if your kids are with you on the visit, then they're getting a first-hand account of exactly how you're interacting. Is this what a real relationship looks like? Am I safe with my mom and dad? Am I safe underneath the cover of their relationship? And if they're getting it secondhand, then that means however mom comes home, whatever her attitude is, her disposition towards dad, that's going to be carried into the home and into their lives and into their hearts. And so it is about you. It is about strengthening this relationship, but it's also about your kids, and it's about the impact that this is going to have on your children today and as they grow up and they have children.
I remember a story you shared with me, Kathy, after a visit, and please, I want you to share it here now. And it was an experience that Brandon gave Kathy at the beginning of our incarceration, and really coming to a place of where, how do we move forward? How do we, Kathy is thinking our life has stopped. I'm thinking our life has stopped, but life does not stop. Everything around you is telling you got to move forward or you will be taken out.
So we're basically living for the moment that Ron comes home. And so everything is about, well, when daddy comes home, we'll go on vacation. When daddy comes home, we're going to go fishing. When daddy comes home, we're going to go camping. And when daddy comes home, we're going to play games and laugh again. And Ron was basically like, well, when I get home, then we're going to do this and then we'll do that. So we came home from a visit one day, and as I walk in, we walk up the little steps into the kitchen, and I look down into the living room, and there's Brandon, and Brandon was probably 3 years old then. And so he's curled up in a chair, and he's got a blanket around him, and he's got his face, snuggled up against the chair, and he's talking to the chair. And so I'm watching him, listening, and he's laughing and making little jokes. I said, Brandon, what are you doing? And he says, oh, I'm pretending that daddy's home. I'm sitting on daddy's lap. And you know what, mommy? We're so busy having fun and being happy, we don't have time to be mad anymore. And it just really struck me that the environment that Ron and I were creating for our children was one that said laughing isn't allowed, that we're not to be happy, and we have to be miserable because our family's separated. And that was the point when I really made a conscious decision that, you know what, we're going to live. Even if living means experiencing joy inside a prison visiting room, we are going to experience joy together as a family, because we're creating family memories that are going to carry my children across a lifetime, and they're going to define my relationship with Ron. And I don't want my relationship with Ron defined by grief and pain and agony and dysfunction.
So now remember, we're at a place at that part of our journey. We were miserable. We were unhappy. We were scared. We're two young people trying to navigate through something we've never experienced before. But the saying is, misery loves company. So when we were coming together, we were miserable together. And it was okay, because that's all we knew how to do, until our son showed us that, listen, I don't have time to be mad. I'm busy being happy. So he was making a conscious effort at the age of 3 years old about being happy. And it quickened in us something that, you know what, we don't have to live like this. We can become happy. We can take this experience, as hard as it is, and this is a process. This takes time. But we began to reinvent the way we looked at each other, the way we looked at a visit. We began to rethink, this is not just an opportunity to eat and to talk about the bills and to talk about the courts. This was an opportunity to start anew.
To have it be a date. So instead of a prison visit, instead of oh gosh, I have to go to the prison, I have to go see Ron, I have to go check in on him. Instead of that, it was, I'm going on a date. And sometimes it was a family date, and the boys would come with me, and sometimes it was a one-on-one date. It was an alone date. And you know what, we created our own dates. We created our own opportunity to connect and get to know each other better and laugh together and cry together and experience life together. And that's what helped build our relationship strong. And that's why we came out of prison stronger than when we went in, because we changed our mindset. And it was no longer about, well, these moments don't count. We're going to wait, and then someday, you know, we're going to do something great.
Someday we'll go on vacation. Someday we'll have that picket white fence. Someday... And when we began to really destroy and take apart that myth that someday, no, that someday was today. That someday was now. We can have a great life despite the prison walls, despite the separation. As crazy as that sounds, I fell in love with Cathy all over again and again and again and again. Remember, not just visits in the visiting room, you know, recapping, we had visits by letters, we had visits and phone calls, really began to change the way we looked at our life and how we can make it better, not bitter.
And so really to summarize is we really want to create an experience that you want to have over and over and over again, but not the experience of being in the prison that you want to have over and over again, but the experience of being connected and being one together in mind, in emotion, in spirit, because you can't be one physically. And so we're going to give you practical, every show, we're going to end with 3 tips, things that you can do right now that are going to improve your visits and make them be that foundation to build healthy, strong relationships. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Completion of TYRO Dads is just the beginning of the opportunities available to you. As a TYRO Dad, you will be eligible to participate in workforce strengthening services to help prepare you for employment and open the doors to economic stability for you and your family. The Workforce Strengthening Program starts with job ethics training. Once completed, you may be eligible to receive training to acquire your commercial driver's license while still inside prison. If getting a CDL is not for you, then there is also a welding training program you may be eligible for. As more programs are being added, there really is something for almost everyone.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron.
And I'm Cathy.
And we've been talking with you lately about how to maintain a healthy romantic relationship
Or build one if you don't already have one.
from a prison visiting room.
Ooh, from inside the gates to outside. And so this series has consisted of us sharing with you the culture and the obstacles that culture of incarceration presents, and how to build trust, how to rebuild trust so that you can have that as your foundation so you can build upon that.
And how to leverage the means of communication that are at your disposal, like phone calls. How do you leverage that? Letters. How do you leverage letters in building a relationship? How do you reinvent? How do you talk? And how do you communicate in a way where it's not offensive or it's not demanding?
And today we've been talking about how to create an experience in a prison visiting room that causes you to grow closer and to bond in real ways, authentic ways, that will carry you through this experience, through your transition back home and into your future.
So right now we want to leave you with 3 nuggets that will help you travel to your path of success for a healthy romantic relationship with your significant other, to have a healthy family despite the odds.
Healthy marriage.
Yeah, despite the odds that are against you. We call this SUV, the all-terrain vehicle that will get you to success.
It's going to overcome almost anything.
That's powerful, SUV. The S stands for smile. You know, one of the things that helped our relationship was that when I came out to a visiting room, I realized that the event that took place for Cathy to get there could sometimes be horrific. You know, the kids need this, the kids are doing that, everything around the world that is moving, that Cathy has to stop to just take a moment.
And the sight for my sore eyes that I was longing for was to walk in and see Ron light up with a smile when he saw us. I mean, it made my heart sing, it just made me feel warm, it made me feel loved, and it made me feel accepted.
So the S is smile. Smile when you're walking to see your wife, your children. Smile when you see them sitting there. Smile when you have to go to the officer's desk and turn in your pass. You look back at them and you smile because they're coming to see you, and they're coming to see the ray of hope that you bring to them despite this prison experience.
Something so simple is so powerful.
Just let them see your pearly whites. That's what you
right.
do. And the second one, SU, the U in there, is the usness. You know, don't forget, visit isn't just about you.
And it's not just about her.
But it's about the us. So when you hold hands in a visit, and if the prison allows you to, hold her hand as long as you can and don't let it go. Don't be inappropriate now,
Right.
but we're just saying hold her hand because this skin, this SOS, skin on skin, this contact is creating a bond that only this can do.
And so if you think and you concentrate on the us during that visit, then she's going to leave fulfilled. She's going to leave built up, and she's going to leave wanting to experience being with you again and making sure that we're maintaining that relationship.
That paying that phone bill is not
Oh,
dreadful
yeah.
anymore because we're connecting, we're building a relationship, a new beginning for the two of us. And the last one in the SUV, the V, it stands for vulnerable. You know, you don't have to always be strong, Dad. Listen, gentlemen, you don't have to always think that you're a tough guy because the truth is you're hurting along with everybody else in that penitentiary. I've never heard anybody say, when I grow up, I want to be a convict. I have never heard anyone say, now that I'm adult, I want to experience prison. I have never heard that because this is a place where men are broken, where men become men, true men of honor, if you allow this experience to help you. So become vulnerable. SUV, let her know how you feel.
And when Ron was vulnerable, that allowed me to see that he was really feeling with me, that he was living with me, he was going through this experience with me, that it wasn't like he was tough and hard and he was just stepping through this and it wasn't affecting him. I mean, then we feel completely isolated and alone because it's not easy. It is a difficult experience. But if you've got a partner on that journey with you, then it makes that experience less frightening and it makes you feel connected
Well,
in a new
it makes
way.
us feel empowered.
Yeah,
You know, we
there it
become
is.
not empowered in and of myself or Kathy in and of herself, but empowerment together that we are in this journey together, that we are going to transcend this experience, that it's not going to make us bitter, but it's going to make us better because we've allowed each other to express what we're experiencing, the hurts, the pains, the moment of joy, the moments of triumph, even the moments of defeat.
And we want to encourage you. If you're really feeling defeated and you're wondering, you know, can I even do this, that my relationships are such a mess, then we want to encourage you to sign up and get registered to be a TYRO. Join the TYRO classes. Take the couple communication classes. These are going to help you to really establish those strong, thriving bonds. So we want to thank you for joining us today as we finalized and finished up our series on building a healthy relationship.
But always remember, you know, we are so ready to help those who want to be helped. But you got to sign up. Find out who your caseworker is. Find out a TYRO facilitator. Get signed up because we want to help you become successful. Okay? So until next time,
Always remember,
we are rooting for you.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of integrity.
I am a man of faith. I am the antidote.
I am a man of discipline. I am a leader.
I am strong.
I am a man worth following.
I am a TYRO.